Welcome back, family, to the IOA podcast, a space where we gather, we remember, and we root into what heals us. I am your host, Dr. Malika, and today we are stepping into the circle. And the topic is the circle, holding space, and breaking silence. So, the circle has always been sacred in our traditions. It's a place where no one stands above or below another person, but we're reminded that the healing happens together. It is a way for us to connect, it is a way for us to draw strength. When we talk about holding space, and I mean truly holding space, it means learning how to sit with truth, how to sit with emotion, and with one another's stories without trying to rush to fix it or to run away from it. It's also about breaking the silence, the kind that grows when pain is unspoken, when shame isolates us from one another, and when community forgets how to listen. So, today we'll explore what it means to return to the circle, to build spaces that are authentic, where there's accountability, and where love can also coexist. So, take a deep breath, hold on, exhale gently. You belong in the circle. We will be back to get into this episode. Welcome back, family. We are going to talk about why the circle matters. So, the circle is probably one of the oldest symbols of connection that we have. From fire rings of our ancestors, kitchen tables that are shaped like circles where stories live and breathe, it has always meant belonging. In a circle, no one's in front of the other one, no one's behind another person. There is no hierarchy, only shared presence. So when I think about healing circles, I think about the ones that I have been a part of, where I have gathered with other women, whether it be in living rooms or on a retreat, where we were out in the middle of nowhere, where we may have had crying of tears, where there may have been laughter. All of these things existed in that circle, and it shows how powerful it feels to simply just be seen and have people present. In that space, silence is not absence, it is reverence. And when someone speaks, the rest of us listen with the kind of attention that is basically saying to the other, I'm not here to fix you, I'm here to witness you. We live in a world that moves fast, it speaks loud, and the circle reminds us that we need to slow down and that presence within itself is a form of medicine. So the questions you need to start asking becomes, where are you being invited to sit down, to listen, to create space for truth to breathe? We need to work on identifying what that is and lean into those spaces. We are going to take another break and we will come back and we will talk about what it authentically means to hold space. We will be back in just a second. Welcome back, family. And we are going to talk about what it truly means to hold space. So, holding space is one of those phrases that we have heard often. It's something that has been used in mainstream conversations and online, but do we actually know what it really means? Holding space is simply offering your presence without judgment. It's saying to the person that's present, you can bring your full self here, the parts that shine and the parts that ache, and you do not have to worry about me judging you. If we were to look at this from a psychological perspective, we call this containment. We look at it from a spiritual angle, we call it compassion. In community, it is simply love that doesn't need to perform. So when we hold space, we are resisting the urge to control someone else's process. What it takes for them to get to where they need to be is not dictated by those who are in community with them. We are trusting that healing has its own pace and it also has its own wisdom. And because of that, we do not need to push at the pace that we believe the other's healing needs to go. So, holding space doesn't always mean that you're going to have the right words. Sometimes it means that you're just being silent, but that silence actually feels like safety to the person that you're providing for. It may sound, if there's an audible sound to it, like saying the words, I hear you, I believe you, or simply, I'm right here. The circle becomes sacred, not because we avoid the pain. It is sacred because we make room for the pain in that space. And when we do this, we are remembering that none of us are alone in this. None of us are by ourselves. This pain is not exclusive to us, but we all understand that we will at some point in time in our life be touched by this. And because of that, we are touching in community to be a support to our brother and our sister. We're going to take another quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to get into talking about silence because silence is probably one of the deadliest weapons against community and against wellness that we don't often talk about, that unfortunately is a cultural thing within the Black community. So we'll come back in just a second and we'll talk about the cost of silence. Healing is not a mystery, it is a practice. I wanted to help the community heal together, which is why I wrote my book, Rooted in Resilience, A Journey Towards Collective Healing. Rooted in Resilience offers tools that fit your life, from the Aya pause to simple rituals you can do at your kitchen table. You will find reflective prompts, language for hard seasons, and ways to invite your community into the journey. If you have carried grief, if you are unlearning hurry, if you want a gentle structure for growth, this book is for you. Get your copy today at malikambrown.com/store/p/rooted in resilience. Rooted in resilience. Breathe in, plant deep, and grow forward. Welcome back, and we are talking about the cost of silence. There's another conversation that we need to have, and this is one of the ones that can sometimes be hard to process and to understand. So, first, I want to set this to make sure that we understand that silence can heal. We talked about that in the segment before. Just being present and not necessarily having language to present to fix the person's issue, but just being there is healing. But also, silence can also harm. From a cultural standpoint, especially in the African American community, one of the challenges that we have is what happens in the house stays in the house. And I'm pretty sure most of us have heard that. We don't understand that it costs us when we bury that pain. It costs us when we don't put language to what we are going through. It costs us when we ignore and don't deal with the challenges that we are facing. And although we think not speaking about it, it's going to go away, when pain goes unspoken for too long, what it does become is this heavy burden. It lives in your body. It shows up as tension. It shows up as illness. It shows up as disconnection. So many of us were raised in this culture, and the survival instinct in us basically said, what happens in this house stays in this house, and we have to be quiet because we learned that early. We think that we're being quiet to protect others, even when in the process of protecting others, we are hurting ourselves. I want you to understand that the unspoken pain has nowhere else to go. It's not going to disappear. What it will do, however, though, is circulate. It's not only going to just circulate through you as an individual, but it's going to circulate through community. What breaking silence does do, it doesn't mean you're shouting the story to the rooftops to everyone. But what it is it's showing you how to find a place that's safe, that's trusted, that allows you to breathe and speak your truth. So every time you name what once was something that was unnamed, you are reclaiming a piece of who you are. And when one person speaks up, it gives permission for someone else to exhale. It also gives confidence and courage to the next person to speak up on their own behalf. That is how community healing begins. It starts with one voice at a time, it starts with one truth at a time, and that continues to happen until the silence is no longer separating us from one another. Let's take another break and we're going to come back and we're going to do our Aya pause for this episode. Be back in just a second. Welcome back, and we are going to go into our Aya pause for this episode. So, if you can, I want you to take a moment to pause. I want you to close your eyes, and if you're not in a position to do so, I want you to soften your gaze. Imagine that you're sitting in a circle, and around you, there are faces that are familiar, that are comforting. There could be ancestors there could be your friends, your family. There may even be strangers there that are inviting and warm. But each one of these people in the circle is radiating warmth. The fire is in the center, it's glowing softly, and that is the space of your truth. I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Now imagine passing a small stone around the circle. When the circle gets to you, or when the stone reaches you, your hands, you are to speak a truth. That truth could be big or it could be small. You might say, I'm tired, or I'm grateful, or I'm ready to let go. Then you place the stone back into the center. You look around and no one is judging. Everyone nods in knowing. That is what it means to be held. That is what it means to be seen without needing to explain. I want you to take one last deep breath. I want you to whisper softly, I am part of the circle. I am safe here. I want you to sit here for a second and settle. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the community aspect, as we always do in every episode, about rebuilding community trust. We shall be back in just a second. One of the challenges that we have had in community is the silence. And we talked about in the previous segments about how silence, while it has a healing capacity to it, that it also can damage, destroy, and harm. And one of the things that will need to happen in order for us to rebuild community trust is to begin with breaking the silence. Trust, like healing, is not a quick process, but we have to put it into practice. If we want to rebuild the community trust, we have to create spaces where both accountability and compassion meet one another. This means that being willing to listen when harm is being named. This means believing survivors. This means accepting these hard truths and having these hard conversations with grace. I've seen circles where people who once avoided each other ended up embracing after hours because of honest dialogue. Because the truth was there, when it's spoken in love, it always finds its way home. So, community trust also means showing up, not just when it's convenient, but when it's uncomfortable. But that is where the transformation that we desire to have for ourselves actually lives. So think about your own circles, what's around you. It could be your family, it could be your friends. For me, it's sorority, it's church community, it's the team that you may be a part of, whatever that may be. And I want you to ask yourself, are we making space for truth here? Are we listening to understand, or are we listening to defend? Are we brave enough to rebuild what was broken? We're going to sit with that for just a second as we take another quick break. And when we come back, we are going to go into our closing reflections and our call to action. We'll be back in just a second. Hey, resilient ones, I want to personally invite you to join me in person for something that's really special to me. It's the Circle, and it's an Aya Wellness event. It is happening Saturday, November the 8th at the Body Bar in Inglewood, California, which happens to be my hometown. And it's going to be a beautiful afternoon of connection, conversation, and collective healing. We'll breathe together, we'll reflect together, and most importantly, we'll root together. We'll use guided Aya practices, journaling, small group dialogue, inspired by my book, Rooted in Resilience, A Journey Towards Collective Healing. And yes, many have been asking, how do I get in and what does the experience look like? There are tickets for every level of experience. General admission starts at $25. The book bundle will include your signed copy of Rooted in Resilience, that's $45. And the VIP experience is special because it comes with exclusive affirmation cards, guided meditation, reserved seating, and you will have an hour of personal time with me along with the other VIP clients. And we also have a level of community sponsors that is $100, which makes it possible for others to join who might not be able to otherwise. So if you've been listening to the Aya Way and thinking, I want to be in the room where this kind of healing happens, this is your moment. I want you to head on out quickly. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. I need you to head to bit.ly/the circle 2025 to save your seat. Come as you are, but leave more rooted, more connected, and more you. I can't wait to spend this time with you in November. Have a great rest of your day. Welcome back. And as we close today, I want you to remember this: the circle never ends. It widens with every act of honesty, every offering of care, and every time we put language to the truths in our life. Holding space is not about perfection. What it is about is presence. So, breaking that silence is not again about shouting and being loud. It is about truth spoken in love. And each time you choose compassion over comfort, you are keeping the circle alive. So, before we get into the call to action, I want to segue into just a quick reminder of the event that will be happening this week. The Circle is an Aya Wellness event, it is in person. And if you haven't already gotten your tickets for the event, now's the time to get out. We will be coming together on November the 8th, and we will be doing exactly what we talked about in this particular episode. We will be putting truth to our pain. We will be sitting in non judgment and compassion and allowing the truth to be alive within the circle. So this week, I want you to create your own small circle. If you can't get out to the event, If you're too far away, if you're hearing this and you're in another location and geographically you just can't get here, I want you to create circle where you are. I want you to invite one or two people to sit with you. There doesn't need to be an agenda. You just need to have presence. Let the conversation be the actual ceremony. Carry this affirmation with you. I hold space for others and for myself. I release the need to hide my truth. I am part of a circle that heals, restores, and remembers. As always, reminding you to get out, share this podcast episode, share the episode itself, the IOA, the podcast with others. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube. And join the community. I really would love to interact with you outside of the episodes on the pod. I would definitely love for you to get the other materials and resources that I'm sharing out in this space. And the way that you would do that is following me on Substack. The Substack is filled with a lot of extra things that you will get journal prompts. You will get things that are not available readily to you through this medium on the show. And I'd love for you to join me there. The episodes will be shared out as far as podcast notes on there during the week. So you will have the connection and the length between what we are doing here and what we're doing on the Substack. And so follow at the iowa.substack.com. And finally, as always, as I do, remember, get the book. This is our blueprint, our manual, our guide. It's rooted in resilience. This truly is my love letter to the culture. It is something that was important for me to do. It very much was me birthing something that has been living in me and an understanding that has been there for a while. And so the things that we talk about on this show, you will find within this book, and you can purchase it from my website, MalikaM.com/store/P/rooted in resilience. And so, as always, I thank you. I do not take it for granted for you joining me in this episode, The Circle, Holding Space and Breaking Silence. So may you find the courage to speak your truth and gentleness to hold the truths of others around you with care. Thank you and have a great rest of your week.